the movie. The Snowman is directed by Thomas Alfredson, stars Michael Fassbender and Rebecca Ferguson, and is a story of Harry Hull, played by Fassbender, who after a snowman-themed murder has to, with Rebecca Ferguson's character Katrine Bart, figure out who did it and why. I had some high hopes for this movie. It looked really intense in the trailers. It looked really, really enthralling. It looked like it was going to keep me on the edge of my seat, but god damn, you failed me. I'll get straight to the point. This film confused me plot-wise. Don't worry, I'm not an idiot. It's just I think that the thing that stood out for me in this whole thing was the editing. It was so choppy. It was so rushed. This film is based on a novel, by the way, and it honestly felt to me like it was trying to cram so much of the novel into it. It was like, don't worry about the plot. If whoever's read the book will understand it, they'll get it. Don't worry. It made it so weird and choppy, and there was some really obvious and bad overdubbing. It seemed very amateurish to me. It was so amateurish and so confusing and made the plot very basic, with a plot that I think wasn't that inspired anyway. I'm not going to lie, maybe I gave this film a little bit too much hype in my head, but it was painful to see this amateurish style of filmmaking with such a high level cast. That being said, the cast was great. I am the king of segues. The cast was great. Michael Fassbender, I'm a huge fan. He's a great actor, we know that. I mean, he took over from Sir Ian McKellen in the X-Men series, and I think personally he stood up to that, so we know he can do it. In this movie, he's a man who is extremely depressed, he's an alcoholic, but I will also say, because of the choppy editing style, we never really get any expositional backstory on him. He just is an alcoholic, and we have to know why. Why? We don't need to know why. I think if you read the books, then maybe, yeah, you'll know. But I didn't know. It's just down and out why. He had a job at a police centre in Oslo. That's terrible news. I would also say, bringing it back to the exposition, that the only real character that had any exposition in this movie was probably Katrine, played by Rebecca Ferguson. She has a very touching backstory, I think, with her father, played by Val Kilmer. Bless him, he's looking very ill in this one with some quite obvious overdubs on his voice, but that you can just tell how ill the man was. But he did put a solid performance in, even if he didn't say that much. Anyway, her exposition was pretty good. She was the only character that you really had a modicum of care for, but because of that exposition sort of mishap, never really cared too much about anyone, and that is a shame, because it wants you to invest in his characters, but really, meh. This movie really does dump you into this world of Oslo with the police and this very cold environment. Now, don't get me wrong, the scenery in this movie is beautiful. It's some inspired filmmaking in terms of its scenery, but really I think it was a pretty uninspired script. But I just don't like that it dumps you in with no real way of sort of giving any character any meat to them. It just gave me no sense of feeling and no sense of caring. As I said before, just didn't really care if anyone was hurt or injured or whatever. It makes me sound callous, now don't get me wrong, I'm not an evil guy, but I just didn't care about anyone. Also, Toby Jones was completely underused in this movie, like in some others. This movie was a total disappointment to me, with its confused narrative, its messy editing, its really uninspired script and story. I think it tried to borrow too much from the books and tried to cram too much in, and that was such a shame. And I think this movie has taught me not really to trust trailers anymore. I think that you should just go into a film and not really think about what you've seen, because obviously if you see as many films as I do, you see a lot of previews, and sometimes now I'm just going to think I'm not going to watch that and really look into it. It is such a shame, but when you've got some solid performances and even they couldn't help your story. For all these reasons, guys, I'm going to give The Snowman a 2 out of 5. This movie, I think, would have been great if they'd just taken their damn time, used a bit from the books but not tried to keep the book lovers' sort of trust, and just given it some real depth. I really think that would have worked, and to actually utilise some characters and some actors in a proper way. Oh, even the ending didn't make much sense, and that is such a shame, and I just wish there was a little bit more. So there you have it, guys. There is my take on The Snowman. Now, if you have seen the movie, then please let me know what you think. I would love to know. Now, of course, do not forget to follow me on all the social networks. Click the old subscribe button, if you will, and I will see you all in the next video.